Hello, welcome to Jadekind Gaming. My name is Adam, here with another Dwarven Forge build example video. Just collecting a few of the actual Dwarven Forge builds that I've used for my games and just kind of going over them in hopes of inspiring you, whether you try and recreate the same build or just get ideas from what I've done. The first one that we have here is a very nice big old city center kind of build. It is like it with my wormwood gaming table. It fits exactly across the sides, so 3 feet wide, and it's like 4 inches shy of 3 feet. Like another one of these tiles over would be that. But being that, it goes exactly half of the table leaves gone, and it just sort of fills that space. Very nice. So I've created this little build, and like the streets are wild. Like the reason is because this is like 2 tiles shy of being all of the streets and alleys from the whatever the big starter street set that I got. And I ran out, and I just basically had to use what I had to make things fit with the buildings that I had. But I made it work, and I'm pretty happy with it. It met the goals. So, like, the plot in this is party coming on, and there's guards that are looking for them under compulsion from basically a fiend that's taken over their mind and you know, has them working for them. And then the battle is both fighting the guards and then also the mental compulsions that the fiend is trying to put on the party as well. Lots of civilians standing around that get caught in the crossfire and start fleeing and running, because we got little outdoor shops, including like a little weapon and armor shop here. If the party needed to grab some equipment during the battle, they could steal from that. Areas where there's like crates and barrels leading almost up to a roof if the party wanted to hop onto a roof. Just lots of stuff around the alleys to take cover in, etc. Many of the buildings. Here's one where during the session some people took shelter inside of a building, but otherwise there's no furniture in there because no players were not intended to be in there. Some of them are dressed because they have open windows that players could hop through. So I dressed a few of them. Some more simply. Some had, like this one is literally made of dungeon corners. And a closed door. But yeah, if there's no open access to them, I didn't bother dressing them. Another one someone hid in. Of course, this one's empty. This is the guard tower where they were being basically sent to. So they were trying to be imprisoned there. But yeah, so basically if it didn't have open windows, I did not bother to dress inside of it. But there's a little garden here on the nice house for the nobles. Using the actual statue that came with the Imperial Streets set that all the streets were from. Lots of dressing comes from both Dwarven Forge as well as the WizKids sets. And just lots of civilians all around. But really just sort of filling up a little city block to give a big old area where a battle can happen, mostly in the middle, but with giving the players options and things to go on if they tried running. Then after leaving the city, we get to the wilderness and move on to another build. This build I did on top of the Mats by Mars that I cut to fit inside the vault of the table, but on top of it because the vault still had another build in it. So this is designed to be 3 possible encounters along sort of a lightly forested path. I used mostly the dead trees because they're easy for the players to see through. A couple of ones up here that are big are obviously just blocking me as the DM at the end of the table, and that was for a potential ambush point. But the idea for this encounter was the party was basically being taken on the road. All their equipment stripped and put into a crate that's being carted along behind them. The party is blindfolded and gagged, shackled, and chained together. They are prisoners, and they're trying to figure out like when to escape with minimal ability to communicate. So they could just have a spot along the road. They just decide randomly at any given point that they're going to try and escape. There's a road here. There we go. Wherever they are, just put them in the order that they're chained with their captors on either end. Can try and escape there. Or had a little campfire, plotted in this little side area. The captors each night take them off, lay them against the ground, around a campfire, and take shifts keeping watch. No problem. That's where the party did try and do it. Works great. Basically, that way, they get to try and rub off their blindfolds while their captors are less attentive. There was a third option. If they went several days and didn't come up with an option for where to try and escape, there's these sort of cliff options in the back. I'd have thrown up a few NPCs, some bandits. This little cart with these prisoners gets stopped by bandits that are all like, hey, we want your goods. The captors obviously less caring about the goods they're carting since they're belonging to the players, but it would give an opportunity to get other people involved with this escape attempt. So it's pretty simple. It's the map for the flat road, the main travel road, with just a bunch of river, swamp, whatever banks pieces to make the elevated off-road section. I had a bit of a limit on how many pieces to fill some gaps, so I actually used a little stilt and just attached a stump lump to it. Again, like I said, I have a lot of the dead trees because it's easy to see through. On this side, so that there's elevation on either end, I have the little piece with the cave in there that's filled up, which is really just so that there's a steps up to this one. On that end, it's got the pieces here, and in the back I have further elevation platform, all built on the little terrain trays. This just have stilts under them, so I was able just to kind of raise that up in the back so that there'd be an area for the ambushers to be stationed. Otherwise, it's just kind of enough to suggest a pretty simple, fieldish, lightly wooded environment that could be used for a few different environments, depending on what situation the party decided to make their escape attempt. And this next build immediately follows up from that one. I had the villain get away, and the party took a short rest before chasing after, so they caught up with him at his camp. The build is still, again, more wilderness, more of the elevation, now with a little river, where I put a little special area, and to make sure they noticed, a light. Yeah, so I had the party approach from this end of this tree line here, so that they had cover and could easily, figure out what's going on before making their plan to attack, whether sneaking up around to get elevation or running at the hill. I have one of the little tree limbs sticking out of the side of the cliff face for, you know, easier spot to try and jump up. All that set up there, and then I had later after the battle that just, you know, used some elevation for fun. I had the idea that between these angel altars there were these little things growing that, you know, like by the next morning were getting bigger and more populous. So just using the weird wildlands vegetation let me do some weird things there. Otherwise, a lot of it's quite a few in the main area, just, you know, ground cover. Some ground cover with trees. I used one of the old escarpments here, just to keep it different from the new, so that two next to each other are different. But this is all built on top of just some escarpment pieces to lift it up on this end. And then this end is just on stilts. Got a terrain tray that has the water, and then the concave there in the corner, because it shows out here. But yeah, otherwise everything else got carried up there. Simple enough wilderness build. Just throw together. Basically, it'll encounter space. Wake up the bad guy while he's trying to camp, and start the fight all over again. I'll do another build, like this here multi-part build, where I got the actual battle area, and I started with sort of a city build to set the scene. And this is just really me wanting to have fun with the fire and the ruins pieces. And this is all built on a terrain tray, so it's easy for me to pick up and move. But these are all city builder, like original city builder, so there are no magnets. It's just all balanced on there. But yeah, so I've got whatever, some civilians down, and using the alley like a little street coming into the town, with the idea that it expands here, and here, like right out here is where like the city gate is. So it's just like some buildings outside of the city gate came under attack, and you know, the party gets there, and there's like a ruined tower with guards all down, and like a barricade where they chased a lot of folks out of the, you know, protecting the city itself, but someone's crying about their grandchild, and so if the party makes their way in to the burning building, again, just using a lot of the ruins pieces from original cities, mixed of course with just some normal city walls for the pieces that are still holding together. I got whatever, a little piece from Reaper that I painted up, and then I have some of these little bits from Dwarven Forge. Anyway, so the barricade is WizKids. I've got a little child mini in the bed. Flames coming out those windows. Flames on the ceiling. Quick, rescue the child. And find out that the monstrous beasts ran off this way. They can track them. Survival. They get to a cave entrance. And that's, you know, just the some stilts with the single cave entrance piece from Wilderness. The roof on it lead down into caverns. Pretty normal cavern build. Have things ready to just pop on some LEDs. Add some fun flickering fire effects. Fun flickering fire effects. With a bunch of gnolls, it turns out. In a cave, basic little cave, plenty of spots, you know, using the Stairway to Violence, which has a gnoll in this, you know, necrotic sludge, black oily ooze and a big pool of it there. You know, plot stuff, and also, you know, it's black ooze. You can hide magic items in it the party can't see. Fun. But yeah, I have areas back here where if they want to try and take cover. Likewise, there's stalagmites and such areas. A little alcove over here. Different spots the party can take cover. Of course, they just took cover and hid in the entryway the entire time. But that did mean that the archers were able to, you know, shoot at them as they went. Anyways, party goes one by one, knocking out the gnolls. Before then going to here where I have just wedged into this cavern piece, just a door from the castles, the classic castles with a little barred door. I'll just wedge right in there. And then to the jail cell of all the townsfolk that were captured by the gnolls for, you know, food storage. But yeah, just a little make the cavern into a jail cell by just adding that little doorway. Otherwise, yeah, we got various things, the trifecta pieces, so I can just have a wall up there. There's corner fills. Got the big single, whatever, the 6x6 cavern floor there to break things up. Yeah, lots of walls, some trifecta builds. Some cavern passage pieces. And then at the end of this cavern passage piece, I ended it with a normal corner. And then the 1x, and that makes it the same size as the actual cavern piece. So, yeah. Fun little cavern build. Build with just a bunch of the ruins pieces. They all just sort of sit there and fall apart, but whatever. I'm like, if it falls apart at the table, oh no, the ruined building is continuing to collapse. And that's a few builds. Well, we'll end this video here. I intend to bring more, but the more I add to a single video, the longer it takes for me to get these out to you. So, you know, we had a few city, few wilderness, and now a little. I really didn't even do any combat with that. The little city build of the fire. It was just to set the scene. The combat was all in the cavern. But it's fun. It's fun to be able to build with all the different pieces. Come up with different environments. Keep mixing things up from one combat to the next. Anyways, so thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Bye.